Hello, thanks for joining me for another on-demand training video. Today we're going to go beyond the search window in Google and look at a wide variety of tools, tips, and tricks you can use to get better search results faster and more reliably using Google. This presentation focuses on accessing Google through a desktop or mobile browser rather than the Google mobile app. So keep that in mind as you follow along with the demos. Here's what I'll be covering. We'll start with basic search and tools, delve into category tabs and filtering, look at the settings, the advanced search feature, search box operators, and how you can go about getting help in Google. And all along the way, I'll give you some bonus tips and tricks that you can implement into your daily Google searching. Sound good? Let's get started with basic search and tools. Let's jump into a demo here. We'll start at the Google homepage. Yes, it's true. You can also, and probably do, typically do your searches right here from your search box. And that's fine and good and maybe even more efficient, but it's not a bad idea to visit the Google search homepage now and then because new features are added, and as I'll show you in a bit, it may be the fastest way to get some of the advanced and specialized searches available from Google. But first off, let's do a simple search. Let's try Apple. And here are our results. We all typically just start scrolling down and looking for what seems most relevant, right? But let's hold off on that and take a look at what is immediately available to us. First, the basic result statistics. More than 2.9 million results in less than a second. And while Google shows us the top linked to sites as the default, we have a lot of filtering options right at our fingertips. Let's look at the not so obvious one first, and that is filtering by time. Click here on Tools, and over here on the left appears Anytime. I like to think of this as recency. Click it and you can filter by time from the past hour, the past day, the past week, the past month, the past year, or even a custom range where you can enter the dates in specifically that you want to see. I'm not sure why Google has this tool tucked away like this. I think most of us want the most recent results, especially when we're looking for more information on news events, which tend to be developing stories that are updated frequently and repeated as facts are discovered. In this case, sooner would take precedence over most linked to for most of us. So for now, to the right of Anytime, we want to talk about the other option, which is all results. It's where you can tell Google, use my search term or terms exactly as I have written. You may not find much use for this particular tool, especially once you're finished watching this session, because you'll know how to set up your searches from the beginning to achieve the most accurate results. Next, let's look at another way of filtering your results by category. You may have noticed that above the tools we were just looking at are a variety of tabs. These are categories that can help you narrow your search. So far, we've been seeing all. Let's look at some examples of the others. First is news. So here you see the latest news about Apple the company, and if you combine this category filter with the Anytime tool, you can find the very most recent news. Next, we have images. Here, with our Apple search, you can get a mix of the corporate logo and Apple's the fruit. Notice below the category tabs, there are many more filters specific to image types and terms, as a matter of fact. And if we add a word or two to the search to specify that we want fruit clip art, apple fruit clip art, you can see that the filters change to help you find the image you're seeking, whether it's just clip art, black and white images, other fruits. You want something with a clear background to bring into PowerPoint, perhaps. Very simple and easy to use. Here's one more way of searching images. Look up here in the search bar. See this camera icon? This is where you access Google's reverse image search. We'll click on it, and you can either paste in a link from another web page, or you can upload an image. Let's try that. I'm going to choose a file. Let's bring up this picture of a puppy. All right, so I took this picture of a friend's puppy, and let's look at these results. You can see that it not only tells you the image size, it has identified the content of the photo. It is a dog, and it is a golden retriever, and it's got quick links to more information. It's got visually similar images, and if you click on that, you will notice that there is a new kind of filtering here. So if you're looking for images, this is a great screen to go to, particularly if you want something that is free and won't violate any copyright. So let's head back and look at a few more category tabs. The next one is maps. So here you can see everything local that has anything to do with Apple. It's great for finding local businesses, restaurants, and other location-based information. You can click the sort menu to sort by relevance and distance, or you can click the menu icon and you can see satellite views. You can look at traffic or transit options for whatever you're looking for. Now, this is a great tool when you're preparing for a trip. While we're here, let me show you something else that can happen. Let's say we want to look at restaurants in Washington, D.C. So look, our categories. We can now search by price and by rating. So a very convenient tool to use when you're looking to go out, you're looking to find a business, you're traveling. Very handy integration between Google Search and Google Maps. So let's go back and look at shopping. Again, you click it, and here is yet another very specialized window. Let me show you something here. So you can look at prices and sellers. You can even create what Google calls a short list. So if you find an item, let's say we're interested in this, down here we have Save to Short List. You can add a note to it, and you can see that each of the items are up here. There's some more options over here on the right, such as renaming the list. You can even get a button that you can put in your browser to just quickly add anything you're looking at to your short list. Short list is kind of the Google's version of the Amazon wish list. If you click here and view short list, it brings up all of the items you selected plus a lot of details. And this is the screen where you would perhaps share your list with somebody, add notes. Under the settings tab, you can take a tour, which I highly recommend, which will give you even more details about using the short lists. Okay, so let's go back to our category tabs, and we're going to go under more. So there's videos, books, here's a specialized one for flights. Doesn't really have to do with what I've searched for, not unless I'm flying to Cupertino, California, or going apple picking somewhere. This is basically a flight planning tool, like you've probably seen with Expedia or elsewhere. It's got your typical type of trip, number of passengers, type of travel, category you want to fly in, from, to, the dates. Just a very simple flight tool that you can use, and you can get to it right from the category tabs after any Google search. The last one I want to show you is finance. This obviously will bring up Google stock information, and it's a good area to do research on stocks and other financial information. So there's one other category you may have noticed, and that's personal. I'm going to let you try that sometime on your own. It pulls in a lot of personalized search information and history based on whatever you're searching for. So if I showed you mine, you would see not only a list of receipts of Apple products that I've purchased, you would see emails related to Apple, you would see pictures of mine when I've gone to Apple orchards or even gone to New York City, the Big Apple. So it's pretty cool and pretty integrated, so try that out sometime. It also contains browsing history for anything related to apples or whatever I'm looking for. So it's a good way, if you remember looking for something months or years ago, you can go into your browsing history and find it that way. So that's a look at the category tabs under the search bar in Google. There's one more thing. These tabs are dynamic. You may have noticed them changing along the way. You can see the order is different here than what we started with. Let's say instead of Apple, we put in Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, and you would see that, well, we started it out of finance. Let's start here. So you get news, images, videos, books, instead of maps and shopping and that kind of thing. So Google is pretty smart about knowing what you're searching for and giving you just a few tabs to choose from. I would probably say, why not show all the tabs? There's enough room here. But obviously that's something for Google to take on in the future. So it's just a clever way of making things more efficient and reducing the number of clicks. Okay? Let's look now at the settings. The settings tab is here. Let's first look at our search settings. And first up is the safe search filters. This setting blocks inappropriate or illicit images from appearing in your Google search results. I highly recommend turning this on for your work computer or for whenever you're using your computer in a public space. Next is results per page. I recommend a balance between the number of results you'll see on a page and the speed with which you would like them returned. If you're on a very fast internet connection at work or at home, rather than a public Wi-Fi, you can probably get away with going all the way up to 50 or 100. I recommend 30 to 40 on average. It will only take a second or two to get your search results. Next is private results, and that helps you find more relevant content for you by integrating Gmail, Google Calendar, and other Google products. I do recommend using this because over time, Google will improve the relevant results that it gives to you, particularly for your personal searches. The next option is where the results open. You can have each link you click open in a new browser window. You may find that convenient. You may find it annoying. If you're doing a lot of searches for a lot of different things, it may make it easier for you rather than having to continually go backwards and start at the Google screen again. And then there's search history. This is turned on automatically when you create a Google account and sign in. And again, it helps return more relevant results. It does things like change the link from blue to purple of any site that you've visited in the past. So it makes it easier for you to determine if you've read something already or sought it out already. But you can turn it off in your search history at any time. The final settings are the region settings. Google automatically detects where you're located in most cases, so you can leave it set to the current region. Obviously, there's hundreds to choose from here. I recommend that if you are traveling or getting ready to travel internationally or to another country, put that country in here as you're searching for ideas of what to sightsee on or restaurants to go to for business meetings, that kind of thing. And when you are in that country, you may want to come in and click your home country if it's the United States or other, just so that if you're searching for news or information back in the States, you can get Google to not use specifically where you are located and rather the country that you want the results from. Back to the settings for our next one, which is languages. Pretty self-explanatory, lots of languages to choose from, and you can edit what you're seeing your results in currently. And I think you can select multiple languages. So if you're bilingual or you're a translator or aspiring translator, you could add another language and see results in a second language. Let's just cancel that for now. And back to our settings. So we saw in search settings that there was a button to turn safe search and private results on and off. It's also here at a click. So obviously Google's done some research and people tend to toggle these more frequently, and this just saves from having to go into another window to do that. Here's advanced search. We're going to get to that next. Here's your complete history, and we'll also talk about search help a little bit later in this presentation. So that completes the overview of basic search, tools, category tabs, and Google search settings. Let's move on now to advanced search. So as you just saw, you can get to advanced search right here through the settings. And you can also get to it from the Google homepage. Down here on the right, settings again, advanced search. This is what it looks like. It's a very specialized page, as we've seen with some of the other searches. You can think of this as a template to help you find specific results without the trial and error of getting the terms right in the basic search bar. Let's walk through an example. Let's say that we wanted to find out how many apples were produced in the United States since 2000. In the first box, all these words, we are going to put in fruit production because we're going to start out broadly. All right, and then we want to specifically get apples and United States. And we want to make sure that we kind of clarify the word production. Maybe it's called other things in agriculture, such as sales, I'll just bring it in, or sold or grown. And we don't want anything to do with Apple the company. So we want to take out computer, incorporated, Apple's stock terms, and we also don't want to get any images or illustrations or art of any kind. So we'll just use that. And in the number range, we're going to put the years. Let's do 2000 until this year. And you can either hit enter, or you can scroll down here and click advanced search. So we'll just hit enter. And you can see here, it brings up agricultural statistics through 2016. And if you click it, you'll be taken to a book with a lot of stats on fruits, particularly apples, and you can see the words that we looked for are highlighted. Okay, so let's go back to the advanced search page, and you can narrow your results even further, and you can do filtering like we've already looked at on the fly. So you could change your language altogether, or you could just, if you know you want to just change a particular language for this particular search, this is where you do it. Same for region, same for recency. Here you could enter a domain, like for example, we could enter .gov in hopes of getting some government information on apple production. Okay, interesting. We got an article or brochure on knowing your food groups. So that wasn't particularly successful for checking the government for Apple statistics. Okay, you can look for specific terms anywhere in the page, in the title of the page, in the text, in the URL, or in links to the page. You can do the safe search right here. You could look for a PowerPoint presentation or an Excel file, etc. And finally, if you're looking for images, here's how to find free in a variety of different categories. So that's an overview of advanced search. Let's look now at search box operators. Staying here on the advanced search page for a moment is really a good way to introduce the concept of operators. Operators are any punctuation or terms that you would add to a search. You may have noticed when we did the search for apple production or fruit production up here in our search box, a lot of things were added. Ors, quote marks, let's scroll over here, minus signs for what we didn't want included. Those are the search box operators I'm speaking of. Now, Google makes it really convenient for you to learn about the different operators in a couple of different ways. The first is right here from this advanced search page. You may have noticed the examples for all these words. Here's how you put exact words in quotes in the search box. You can add or, you can add minus signs for those things you don't want. You put 2 periods between the numbers, and that is just a brief introduction to operators. But there's more specifics. Go down to the bottom of the page and click Use Operators in the search box. And look at this, some terrific tips. You can search for people in social media by adding the @ symbol. You can look for prices and hashtags. You can look with wildcards. If you're not sure of a word that you want to do largest something in the world. It'll show you a whole bunch of interesting facts about big things. You can do numbers. Here's or. Now, cite is pretty cool. Let's open up a new tab. So if we do cite NASA, instead of going to NASA and working through their menus, you can use cite in NASA to perhaps scroll more quickly through the content that is on the NASA site. I find that to be really cool for sites that have a tremendous amount of information or a very rich hierarchy of menus. Similarly, there is info, which will basically give you one sentence about any website. And it's important when you do these site colons, related colon, info colon, that you do not put a space after the colon. So that is an overview of the operators that you can enter directly into the search bar without having to go to advanced search. And now let's look at some additional resources. The first I mentioned earlier is available right from the Settings tab, either once you've done a search or from the Google home page. So help is here, and as we looked at earlier, it's here. Now, once you're on the Google Help homepage, you can describe your issue. You can look at popular articles, tips and tricks. There's overviews of settings. There's filter and refine your results. And you can enter, as I mentioned, you can enter any term to search on. I find it easier to just look through this list first to see if there's an article that resonates with what I want to find out. There's a specific article I want to show you because it contains some additional search tips and tricks, and that is how to search on Google. So obviously the basics are here. Yes, you can click a microphone and just talk to Google in most browsers. It's tips about choosing your words carefully, but really what I want to show you is the quick answers feature. So here it describes if you just search weather and add a zip code, or put the word define in front of any word, or you can type in math equations directly into the search window. Unit conversions, I actually want to take a moment to show you that one real quick. So let's go back and let's say how many ounces in a gallon. So look at this convenient unit converter. So here's our answer. 1 gallon is 128 ounces. But if you click here, you can search on anything from area, fuel economy, temperature, time. It's a very handy tool built right into Google, and it's called the Unit Converter. So that's our overview of all the different ways that you can search Google, the different techniques you can use, a host of tips and tricks to make your Google searching faster and faster. Now you may have some additional questions, so we've set up an email box for you to send those our way. And you can send those questions to questions@howtosearchonline.com. You may want to click the pause button for a moment, note that email address. Okay, that's it. Thanks so much for joining me today. Remember that you can find other on-demand training seminars like this one, as well as our quick tips videos on YouTube. And I'll be back next month with another on-demand session. Bye.